Hi, good morning to everyone. So we would like to have a bit of an interaction section with you now. And I think of core interest probably to most of you what the European Rural Mobility Network is and how you can get engaged and what are the next steps in the process. So that's what we would like to explore with you and understand a bit who is sitting in this meeting. Of course, it's always a bit challenging when we are online. It's much nicer to meet face to face, and we hope we will have the chance for that for the next meeting, probably in October. But this is a great occasion to explore a bit with you what you feel about this network and how you could possibly be engaged. So what we prepared are a few slides about the network and the purpose and the activities. And in the meantime, in the middle of this slide, so now you really need to focus because there will be moments when you actually have to interact with us and let us know how you feel about certain things. And hopefully we will have some time at the end for a bit of a discussion as well. So I'm kicking it off, and then it will be soon after that your turn as well. As you know, this project, as was already mentioned, is planning to set up a so-called European Rural Mobility Network. And the network implies a lot of interaction. So what we are hoping that we will have a chance to interact with you more and more during the project and to find out about your needs and how the project activities that partners presented can address those. So my name is Edina Oczko, and as Andrea and Brendan presented at the beginning, we are working as a partner in this project. We are representing company 40. We work in other projects as well on smart rural communities. Maybe some of you have already met us in the context of other projects that we are doing. And I'm here with my colleague, Anita, Katrina, and Demeshe. So we are trying to support the networking side of this project and also the communication side, but of course it all depends, all this work depends a bit on all the other partners and the outputs of the project itself. So a few words about the network, and it can be described fairly easily because the purpose is what we are here for today as well, to share knowledge and experience, especially among local authorities, but also other practitioners and also experts who are interested in rural mobility. And I think it's a quite important dimension what Bente and her team presented, that it's not just rural mobility, although that's the main focus, but it's also sometimes coupled with tourism and the challenges around that. So I think this is kind of a new dimension in this project compared to previous SMARTA projects. So this is a topic we would like to dig a bit more in depth into. So the purpose at the end is really to share experience and share knowledge among the future members. Now you would surely wonder who are the members and whether you are members. Right now we don't have like a formal membership, so it's a bit of an experimentation, and we are just hoping that you will bear with us during this project. The network has quite a flexible structure, so right now it's quite open. It's still open to any kind of stakeholders with an interest, capacity, or mandate to act in rural mobility and tourism. But of course the interest is one of the key words, because we want to work with stakeholders who really want to make a change in the topic of rural mobility and tourism. So it's very crucial for us. And of course, then we need to find the capacity with these organizations, as well as we are hoping to find organizations who have a mandate to make a change, and through the project and the network, we can make a change. So at the core of the network is probably kind of the territories which are impacted by these rural mobility and tourism issues. So first of all, it can be larger regions who often have the capacity and mandate, but also smaller regions like areas of leader lags. I think some of you, we will find out in a minute, are representing so-called leader lags. So larger or smaller territories, regions that have this as an issue, and especially those who want to make a change, who are predominantly rural or integrate rural areas and want to make a change in terms of changing the situation of these smaller communities. And then, of course, the other core target group is municipalities. So So that's kind of the core of the Rural Mobility Network, a network of municipalities. So we really want to understand a bit the challenges, or understand more. We already understand quite a bit from the challenges of municipalities, and also the possible solutions. And then, of course, a key thing is the interaction between the different levels. So how municipalities can take an action at their own micro level, how a larger territorial level, such as the LEG, micro regions, territories can support that, and then how regions can make sure that this dimension, the mobility and rural mobility dimension, is built into their strategies, and how they can make sure that something is happening at the end of the day for the smaller communities. So it will be a key dimension of this network, Rural Mobility Network, to interact between the different levels. But of course, we are welcoming also other organizations, and we know some of you are representing other organizations. So these could be organizations who are multipliers, who can help disseminate the key messages. It can be policymakers, it can be different kind of networks in mobility and tourism. So those who interact with the rural mobility theme, and who are able to make a change and support this cause of improving mobility and tourism situation, or in connection with mobility in rural areas. So as you can see, we work with a wide range of stakeholders at the moment. And here is the moment to start with a bit of interaction. So either on your computer or on your phone, we would now like to ask you to please type menti.com. And I'm just really hoping that we got the right code, because otherwise you might end up on a different page, but hopefully it works. So if you type this code that you see on the screen, then we will now launch a kind of survey to see a bit like who is sitting in this room, in this virtual room. You would need to get something like this, and I will stop sharing my screen in a minute so that my colleague Anita can share the results of the survey. So firstly, I'm asking Anita, like, is it working? Did I log out properly? So it's working on your page?
Yes, it's working.
Very good. So Anita will share in a moment. So if you will see the code again, don't worry, because when Anita is sharing the screen, it will display the code on the top. And I can see already some of you are familiar with this tool, so it's really great. So let's see what kind of organizations are sitting here. Of course, we put municipalities. Within those who put municipalities, they can also put rural municipalities. Sorry, these are not exclusive categories. We just want to see, like, within the municipalities, how many are rural, but you can do either way. I can see that you're doing it in a way that if you are a rural municipality, you are really stressing it, you are rural, so that's also great. There are the categories leader lags. It might be hard to read a bit. Regional organizations, network of stakeholders, and national organizations, if you consider yourself a policymaker or a European network. Yeah, Katrina, my colleague, also put the code in the chat. We've got 22 responses, so we wait a bit more because we are more in the room. Of course, maybe the partner organizations didn't put themselves down. So any more votes? If you go to menti.com, it's fairly easy. You put the code and then you can vote. Very good, 24 already. And I think we are really glad to see that there are quite a few municipalities represented here, both rural and non-rural. There might be an overlap, so it might not be 15 if there is an overlap and you ticked both boxes. And that's also fine. And as we expected, we see regional organizations. Some of our lighthouse sites are actually regional organizations. And we also have some legs and other networks of stakeholders and European organizations. So this is really kind of representing the diversity. You can see the diversity also in the colors of the different organizations in the network, and also the core role that we were hoping that municipalities will play in this. Okay, so Anita, if you stop sharing, I will go back for a second to my own slides. And we will come to the discussion part in a minute as well. but we just want to get a feel for who's sitting in the room. So as you could hear a couple of times, there are also lighthouse sites represented in this room. They are also part of the members of the network, and it's a combination, just as with the network members. We have a combination of regional and municipality level entities within among these lighthouse sites that the project identified and approached already prior to this application, and in the process of identifying further lighthouse sites. Now, these are normally sites that we would like to work with because they have a strong commitment to work on rural mobility. Most often this is combined with tourism challenges and solutions. And the project is working more closely with these sites to test some tools, then to be able to use it much wider with all the network members. So we are trying to share knowledge, which is a key thing. Also within the lighthouse sites, we just had a very nice meeting at the beginning of this project in Arni, but also beyond the lighthouse sites within the network. These sites are more actively contributing to all these guidelines and guidance development that partners have been presenting. And they will also test the training for you with municipalities, and hopefully then this tested training material can be further refined. So we really rely on these lighthouse sites. I hope right now we actively work with 12 sites. I hope I place them well on the map, and if not, you should be shouting at me. But this is the list so that you can see who is in your country more closely involved in the project. So we really rely on these sites, and hopefully they will get benefits from being involved more closely with the project. But the idea is that we work with them, we test the different methods, and they help developing the guidelines, which then will be shared with the wider network. So you can check out if there is a site in your country, but if you want to approach us because you see your country is not represented, you are more than welcome, and we would be happy to discuss how we can work closer with any of the members on these topics. So before going to the next question on the Mentimeter, maybe I stop sharing, and what I'd like to ask, can you please, let's test if the raise hand function works. So those who are lighthouse sites representatives, if you could use at the bottom of the screen, there is reactions. And you can use any reactions if you'd like. Raise hand would be the most obvious one, but you can use the celebration one, the laugh, heart, whichever. If you could indicate if you are a lighthouse representative, yeah? Those who are actually representing lighthouse sites. Andrea, are you claiming to represent the lighthouse sites, or you were just testing the button? Okay, cool. Okay, so you can look across the board and the screen. I can see Alexander, maybe you can, if you click, yeah, you can wait.
Yes, good morning. We are representing Alentejo in the south of Portugal.
Okay, who else couldn't use yet the light or the signs at the bottom, but representing different regions? I can see some familiar faces. So those can wave into the camera with real hands. That's also fine, so that we see who is, thanks a lot. Catriona, yeah. So you can see that we've got some lighthouse sites. Yeah, Claudio, great. It's good to see your faces on the camera as well. Perfect. So if you scroll across the board, you see the people who are representing lighthouse sites. Very good. So now we would like to go to the second question. Again, please go to Mentimeter with the same code. Anita will share the screen and you will see the question and the code again. Because what we are curious to hear, you saw that we are covering some countries with lighthouse sites, but not all. And which country you are from. So let's see a bit like what's the country balance in the room. Here we didn't list all the countries, so it's a word cloud you need to type. So please try to use the most common name for your country. Maybe you can use Czechia instead of Czech Republic, so that we've got some common ones. And if you could type so that we see, so far it looks like we almost only have people from Latvia and Ireland, but okay, new countries are popping up. So let's go on. Let's see which countries are most represented. And if you see already your country name appearing, use the same typing, yeah, because then we will see from the size of the fonts, like which countries are the most represented in this room. Very nice. Oh, and I can see more people got active. That's perfect as well. We will share also the results of this survey in the report. So definitely Ireland, Germany, Portugal, I think Latvia, from judging from my eyesight, Italy is catching up. So these are the 5 countries being most represented here today. But you can see we are covering quite a few countries, which is great news. And already 39 answering. We are getting there. I think more and more people are getting active. Good to hear and see. Wow, 40 answers. I'm not even sure we are that many in the room. Okay, that's very good. Very good. So Ireland seems to be the winner, and followed by Germany and Portugal. Someone put Toscana, that's nice, to stress which area you're from. Very good. So thanks a lot for sharing. You can see, like, if you, probably the smallest ones are only 1 or 2 people, but it's still good to be represented. And I think we will look at countries who are maybe not so represented here to see what's the situation and how we could cover even more. So thanks for sharing, Anita. I will switch to my last slides then, before we start some of the discussions as well. Give me 1 second. To go back to the slides. Oops, I lost them for a second. I'm not sure. I've got so many things open that I'm just hoping I will open the right one. Okay, we are here. So the last one, which again, you're surely quite interested to see, the activities and the benefits of being involved in the network. So firstly, we have 6 meetings, and we really also try to support, especially some of the costs of some of our members, especially the local municipality representatives and lighthouse representatives. We might, of course, not be able to support everybody's travel costs, but when it comes to face-to-face meetings, which we are happy to announce that the next one will be a face-to-face meeting. You will hear more about that tomorrow. So we will have 6 meetings. This one is the first one, so other 5. And out of these, there are 2 which are face-to-face, the next one probably in October. And then we are having some online meetings again and the face-to-face again. So 3 meetings a year. You know, this project is running until the end of 2024. And these meetings will also have, today we focus a bit more on good practices and different practices, for instance, from lighthouse sites. But later on, we will focus on other topics as well. But of course, the whole point is to share the experience of the different entities and to generate discussion. So hopefully next time we see many of you in person. So this is one of the core activities, the exchange, and for that we need to meet. We know from past experience that brings the most added value, especially when we see each other face to face. Of course, what we hope that all this valuable work that partners put into the different tools, it might have been quite a lot of information to digest, but as it was said in the chat, we will share all the presentations, as well as there is more and more information up on our website, which we will present tomorrow as well. But you will have hopefully quicker access to the guidelines and different tools that we are producing here, including policy papers, training material, and so on. So that's hopefully another key benefit for ERMN members, to be in the loop more. And then the third part is the exchange of experience and learning from others, which we really hope will be the crucial one for this network. So it can be done during the meetings, obviously, like today. So we really count on your interaction at today's meeting. But of course, we are trying to share all the experiences and learning from the project at different media and social media and good practices and so on, also on the website. So these are some of the key benefits that we see the project might bring. And then I would like to ask you for a final set of interaction, and then it comes to a bit of discussion as well. And this is the last question, once again on Mentimeter. This needs maybe a bit more time to digest, but as you go one by one, the different items you will be able to do. So there is one more I did, the funding opportunities in the meanwhile, because this is just a screenshot. But when you go there, you will see. So we would like to ask you to please judge, like on a scale of 1 to 5, how important that topic for you is, or try to judge which are more important and less important, so that we have a bit of a feeling where you need support the most. That's the idea here. These are some of the activities that SMARTA-NET is providing through the specialist work of partners as well as networking. So I stop again sharing my own screen, and I will ask Anita to share hers, which shows the real life situation. So this might need a bit of digesting, but let's see which ones you find the most important. You can rate them from not so important to very important on a scale 1 to 5. And I purposely tried to mix them so that it doesn't come up like the first one is the top one, which is now the case, but you can see that exchange with others is a similar one put at the bottom, and it still has a high score. Very nice. So we are still waiting for feedback. It seems all of them are quite important right now, but good practices, sharing good practices, and especially exchanging with others now is catching up. Here is your chance to quickly tell us which one you want to focus the most on in the different occasions. And of course, today we focus on the good practices one, and yes. So please keep voting. We had an even higher number last time. Yes, very good. Very good, 31 votes. We wait a bit more because this needs a bit of more thinking, I think, and to clicking and rating the different bits. Very good, 33. Last time we had 40, so okay, maybe partners are not quite voting for their country, so we might not get the same numbers. Here is the chance for partners to rate their own activity high, and then it might show better on screen, which is a bit of cheating. Okay, that's very good, because we want to exchange with you as well. It's not just you who want to exchange with each other, but that's a key purpose of the network for us as well. And I can see good practices. So the first 3 ones, as you can see as well, the exchange with others on mobility challenges and solutions. The second one is good practices in mobility and ecotourism, so to share good practices. And the third one on this scale is guidance on mobility planning. So really the guidance side, and you rated policy advocacy, but I think this is something which will come up step by step more and more, a bit lower, but it's very important, I think, and it just again shows and reflects why you're probably sitting here with us as well today to discuss this. So thanks for sharing, Anita, and we will come back to these graphs in a minute in the discussion to induce further discussion. But just for a second, I will share for the last slide my presentation again. So as you could see, and we will present the website tomorrow, some pages we are just filling up gradually with contents, and hopefully we'll follow that more and more. But I just wanted to highlight here that we have a section on the European Rural Mobility Network, and it's open, as you can see. There are some encouraging words as well to become part of this network. So we would like to encourage you, of course, some of you already probably probably filled out the questionnaire, which is on this site, but we know there are fewer answers than people sitting here. This is a very, very short questionnaire that we put up to explore a bit similar questions like we are exploring today, like what are your needs, what you would like to discuss within the network. So if you go to the website and you go to that button and you want to keep engaging with this project, it would be very useful if you shared your thoughts through this I think it's fairly short on it. I can confirm a few questions, couple of questions. You can see she's nodding. So it's really a short questionnaire. The idea is to hear a bit more about who you are and what are your main needs, what you think is the most important activity of the ERMN. Yesterday, when I was checking, I think we had 14 responses. I don't know if it's still correct, Anita, but we would like to have many more. So hopefully after this session, many of you will complete this questionnaire, and we will see more results coming in, and that will show that you also started to engage with us. So maybe I stop this presentation here. And then I would encourage, let's test this a bit of a interaction. One thing I didn't mention, and Brendan reminded me two things which I wanted to mention. So beside the 6 events, there is also the final conference in Brussels. So that's an extra event where we will invite a wider set of stakeholders. And one more thing which I wanted to mention is that luckily we will probably, it looks like we will have a Czech site who is a lighthouse site, will get engaged as a lighthouse site, and they are represented here. I'm looking for Adela and Jaromir, but maybe you can, if you switch on your cameras for a second, if you're still here. You might not have raised your hands when, yeah, Adela, I can see. Thanks a lot for joining. And I saw Jaromir as well, somewhere in the crowd, but I'm not sure he's still here. So we are really glad to work with the site in Czechia. And thanks for joining for the event as well. And we are in discussion with other sites in other countries. Maybe Brendan, you want to give an update on that?
Just okay, very, very briefly, and Andrea is better positioned to give an update than I am, but I'd like to also welcome and note Florin Chaparro from Romania, and a very interesting site that we have been talking with in the last couple of weeks, I think, and I also see that there are many other Romanians have joined this call, so that's really, really good. Thank you so much for being part of us, and also to talking with some of your colleagues. We also have some colleagues here from Valorana in Spain. I think Eva Martinez wasn't able to join us, but one of Eva's colleagues is with us. You might identify yourself. We worked with Valorana in the last SMARTA project as well. They're just outside Barcelona and have done some really interesting work on demand responsive transport. And we're also talking with the site in France. I think, Andrea, is somebody from France has joined us? From Bretagne Sud?
I think so. There should be someone there.
My apologies. I'm trying to scan very quickly. You might raise your hand if you're in the audience.
There should be someone from maybe Gabriel.
From Bretagne Sud, I think maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I think we have.
Or Gabriel probably. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
From Radom.
My apologies for not recognizing. Ah, there you are. Very good. Thank you, Gabriel Cibril. Yeah. So excellent. So yeah, I think we're kind of moving up towards the 16 countries at this stage. So it's very good. I think we're starting to build a nice community here. And a point I was going to make, keep to the closing remarks, but I'll say it now, is this is just a beginning. And, you know, I think we have the opportunity to meet many, many times over the rest of this 18 months. More will join with us. And what we really want is by the time the project ends, that we will have been the catalyst to creating a community, a network. We'll move on, and it's up to the network, those who join in it, to shape the future of that network as a voice for rural mobility in Europe. Thank you. Back to you, Edina.
Thanks a lot, Brendan. And I agree, it's really good to see the increasing number of countries being engaged. It's time. I think it was quite a lot of information being downloaded on you. So we want to have a bit more discussion.